The report of the minutes have been published, posted, and are there any corrections to minutes? Hearing none, they remain as published. Our first item under unfinished business is Burgess and Niple project update report.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead and start the program. This is going to kind of go over everything we've been working over or going to be working on the next 5 years, what we got projected and what we have done for the last couple of years. Give you all an update. I know that some of you are new and don't really understand it. So it should give you a breakdown at any time during the presentation that Mike might do. If you have questions, ask him. Okay. So it's going to be pretty length. I know that invite the other department heads here today just so they can know what's going to be going on the next 5 years, what the struggle is going to be in the utility board side. So, they got any questions? So, yours, Mike.
Sure. And as we go along, this is pretty open. We don't want to really be a presentation, but go through questions and stop and just talk about things as we go. This is, our most recent 5-year plan that we put together. It was completed last fall. So, and I know you can't read that, but get your copies when you update it. But as we go forward, we talk today.
Sure. Very good.
Projects that we've started, we have projects that are on the drawing board, but a lot of things going on right now. So I'm going to start off with the number there of about $45 million work that will be done hopefully over the next 5 years. And as we go forward, looking how the city is set up, are there really are 3 funds that the utility board deals with. Sewer fund takes care of any of the wastewater, drinking water comes out water fund, and the catch-all general funds where stormwater is taken care of, streets, bridges. I mean that's part of the public works, but all kind of that umbrella where
can you pull your microphone a little closer to you to make sure that we're picking that up?
Yeah, sure. So we can start with the current projects that we're doing on the wastewater side. We have a Scada system, which that is telemetry at water station, pump stations, water tanks. That has been in the works for over a year now. We thought that they may actually be on site today. It's been slow going. So that's with Cinco Water. So hopefully that will.
Mike did contact them last week. They were scheduled to be here either today or yesterday. I did not see him yesterday, and we have not seen him so far today. So we'll get into that discussion in the next line item about what we want, how we want to proceed with that contract. Okay.
No, that's I want to do this as we go. Also, Public Works, Craig's group are doing lift station rehabilitations. Those are just done. I do a couple of years.
Yeah, lift station rehab. So that's where we converted most of the pumps when we first started here. We had 6 or 7 different types of pumps. Now we got down to 2 pumps, a 2-horse and a 6-horsepower pump, same brand. So when I keep stock inventory, I don't have to keep 8 different types of pumps. I have to keep 2 different types of pumps. And the control board circuitry is all the same, so I don't have to go outsourcing and delays and have lift stations down.
And the project that we're currently working on is the wastewater system improvements, the phase 1 projects. We'll talk a little bit more about that. We're in the design phase right now for it. And then the former OVU sites, if that would get converted over into developments, just for the city to run a sewer line basically to the top of the hill, which would service the existing, well, the old OVU, and then if Vienna Elementary School is up there, about $2.5 million worth of. Yes. Yes.
The wastewater system, you got that for
Oh.
I mean, you have to do major work there. That's going to be significant.
No, we do not.
Down in the wet pit and the concrete deterioration made a hole. And what happened, if you get that bottom steps, you can turn right and walk towards the concrete and go to the community where the ground up stuff, it's not there anymore. When it comes to a burn, it's that platform. It's one of the platforms we talked about when we did the lift station, removing it. We didn't. Now it's got a whole deterioration, rebar, and concrete. So we're looking at ways to possibly fix that or just remove it. It's just a hazard. We either want to take that section out or fix what we have. I've barred the guys to come down, walk down the area, they're down the bottom steps, and that's it. So. It is. Yeah, so that we can take a choice either removing that section of concrete and just barring anybody from walking over there, or repair the hole. We haven't decided. It could be expensive one way or the other.
5-year plan for $44 million. That includes the sewer improvements. Not part of the 5-year plan.
Correct.
So these are new numbers.
Correct. Again, though it's hard to see, but the Scada improvements, again, that's green dots are the sewer pump stations. The blue are anything that has to do with water. There's the main hub being here at 60th Street.
That's blue dots are large tanks, and the booster pumps and feeds large tanks. There's actually a couple of different. Greenmont, the top of Greenmont is fed by booster pump. Millstone is fed by booster pump, service residents, and then there's down at Windermere, it's fed by booster pump. Then there's booster pumps at the location of 20th Street that feeds the elevated tank. The rest of the tanks are filled up with water producing pumps.
Millstone, out on Rosemont, out on Millstone.
Yes, it is. And so,
And how many existing homes are there?
there's 3 homes there.
How many homes?
You just give me the drawing of it. So 60, 70? Yes, it is.
Looking at the phase 1 project for the wastewater system, it's got 3 major pieces. The first being the 11th Avenue sewer. It goes from 17th Street over to 12th Street, so behind Lowe's. There was some issues with surcharging of that sewer that we need to upsize it. It's currently a 10-inch, and we're going to change it to a 12. And as part of that too, the 12th Street, which is basically takes everything on the east side of Pond Run, it will be upsized to an 18-inch. Currently, it surcharges back. So we were looking at replacing it from 11th Avenue down to the pump station.
What happens on 17th Street in that particular area, that line is at maxed out capacity. So any kind of I&I that I might have it causes several backups. We have had to install backup printers in every one of the houses up 17th Street. This could cause some issues in that area. So it's just maxed out. That's all it is. So we need that later.
And really, the pinch point for Vienna and taking in Port Low is the existing force main that goes from 12th Street up to the Burgessburg wastewater treatment plants. We're looking at upsizing it also to be able to give us capacity. So that's of course the major part of what we're doing this project. So again, we're in the early phases of it. We're finishing up survey, so design will be starting shortly.
That force main is a 16-inch line. That's been installed in 1983. So that is life. So we need size we're going to need. You said too.
It's either 18 or 20.
We've had 2 breaks on that line in the last couple of years, and we've had to repair. So it's good. Yeah.
How big is it?
I think it's a 10-foot right of way for our force main, but most of it sets on the edge of the right of way of the CSX. Yeah, I talked to Mike about maybe putting it on one side of the track. It jumps back and forth through there a couple times. I'd like to see it just on one side, so future people know where it'd be, and that would be on the west side of the CSX. Well, we'd be on the edge of the right of way too, so it's that crossing wouldn't matter because we're sitting on the right of way half the time. So yeah, I understand. Yeah, it's very expensive.
That'll be on the west side.
Hopefully, we'll have to make a structure there to suspend that pipe crossing Pond Run. So
Back to Randy's question is, we need the existing pipe in service, and then add what will be another.
it'd be a 18 to 20-inch new pipe. We'd leave it one in service until we get new in place, and then we just kick it over and band the other. Well, it jumps back and forth, so that is possibly a new right away on the west side. I went down. Yeah, she will.
And looking ahead to phase 2, what year was it? 2018, 2019 when you purchased the camera truck. Yes. So we had gone back and looked at some of the videos that were provided back in 2020 and started looking at the lines that could be replaced or rehabilitated. So from that, the yellow lines there are locations where rehabilitation or replacement would take place. And it's spread through, and it's not, I don't think it's all encompassing. As we've gone through here that have been identified, but yeah, just looking at a place, or as a first phase of improvements to the sewer system, as we get through this, the big thing is being able to get infiltration inflow out of the sewer system. How Vienna pays is per gallon, so every gallon gets in the system, they park it. So any water that gets out, this will help.
You said I and I.
Yeah, infiltration inflow. And an example of that would be our average daily flow is roughly 1 million gallons, 1.1 million. On rainy days or soaking rains, we could go up to 3 to 4 million gallons per day. So, like I said, that's Parksburg doesn't care if it's rainwater or sewer water. We're going to pay for it. Are we going to eliminate all of it? Absolutely not. Okay, I don't think there's a system in this country that can eliminate all I&I issues. So we're trying to slow some areas down. I think that's the lines you show there is actually where the INI is most severe. So I know we did the camera, microscope camera. We've also did flow testing throughout the system to see what the normal flow is throughout the system when it rains, see how much it picks up. Try to isolate that iron. Best place to do a little bit of this work we can.
The other portion of the phase 2 project was replacing the sewer along Woodland Heights. That is actually a 6-inch sewer that goes through there. It's cross country. It's shallow in places. It just needs replaced and upside. So it would be replaced basically from Woodland all the way down. That's 27th Street down to the end of the 6-inch and replace it with an 8-inch.
That's clay tile pipe in that particular section, 4 and 5 foot joints, 3 to 4 foot joints. But when he said it's shallow, you can actually walk up there on top of the pipe. So it's above. Some of it's above ground, especially with 2 creek crosses in that area. We need to upgrade it. We get a lot of I&I out of that. So. Just erosion from the soil when it was originally put in, then it comes back through and things have been erosion off of it. So dirt.
And as we're talking about the former OVU site, this is when we were costing it. Again, we haven't seen any kind of plans or anything on how it will work as far as the future upgrades up there. So we just ran a sanitary sewer from basically the top of the hill down 14th Street. It would go from there all the way over to 12th Street. So it would impact the design a little bit on our 11th Avenue because that is where it actually would tie into the sewer there. So it'd be slightly upsized, probably from a 12 to a 15, that short section.
They have not given us any kind of official drawings or they say, okay, there's going to be a school up here, but might be some housing development, might be this, might be that. And so it was real difficult to do the calculation. When I asked Mike, just do the worst case scenario. I say, figure houses all over the place and a couple more commercial buildings, restaurants, that kind of. So that's what he did. That's what the flows calculated off of.
Why is that design down 14? It's not connecting very well.
Because 12th Street, the sewer line comes down 12th Street, then down 13th Avenue, makes a big horseshoe, and comes back around to 11th Avenue. Instead of maxing out and replacing all that sewer line around that area, we just took it straight down 14th. That line needs to be upgraded anyway, and the deterioration of that concrete needs to be replaced. So the most feasible place we could take it. I asked him to do that. So that's what, yeah. So
I was just looking at the picture, see why it couldn't be right there at me.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Just kind of a summary of the 2 projects that we talked about. Like I said, we had begun design at the very end of last year for the phase 1 project. We're hoping to get to the construction phase by the end of the year. And then looking out, the phase 2 design wouldn't be until spring of 26, and hopefully we'd be done with construction then somewhere in 2028. Switching over to the water projects and the current projects that we're doing, wells 9 and 10 improvements that they have done. Well 9?
Yeah, they have completed well 9. They are actually the contractors inside the building now, replacing roof and interior pieces, removing the old electrical control panel or some of the electrical control panels, all the old chlorine treatment areas, put new lights up, painting, that kind of stuff. So that's number 9 is the one that's on corner of Sam's 10th Street. That's up from 10th, right there at Sam's. Okay. Well, 10 is across the street where the Jiffy Lube or whatever that is. They're small block buildings right there in the corner. The big block buildings are GAC filters. So. Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Hydrant and valve replacements, again, those are done in-house. I'm not sure how many you guys try to do a year.
Well, what we try to do and what we get done is two different things. So, but we try to replace hydrants when they get run over, and it keeps us pretty busy. Or when the fire department breaks them, we try to replace them at that time. So.
We get your credit card.
Currently, we are inspecting water tanks. We got completed with the OVU tank, I guess towards the end of last year.
Yeah.
And we're getting ready to start on the ground storage tanks in the second week of March. So we'll get those all finished up. There was no real issues with the OVU tank that we found. We've been doing it on 10-year schedules. It's been 10 years since those were put in, which doesn't seem possible. The water system improvements, we had started with a smaller project and had gone through to the funding agencies. When we met with them, being as water rates were too low to be able to fund the project that we were wanting to do, as you go, how the funding agencies look at rates is it's based on the percentage of your median household income. To be able to qualify for funding, which this is the lowest tier that you can get from the state, which is 3% 20 years, you have to be at 0.4% of your median household income. Currently, I believe it's 0.26% is where you are. To be able to get to the 0.4 cutoff, it was around $9 million worth of work needed to be done. So when we went back and talked to Craig has a major issue, I guess, on 16th Street.
Yes.
And we can talk about that a little bit more when we go into it. So that's the reason that number has been increased. And we're kind of at a holding pattern until we decide exactly how we want to do that because, as you can see, the water improvements associated with WVU-P, the former OVU site, are pretty big. And that includes a new water tank for up there and booster station. So as
you don't understand about what he just said about reference to the loans, how yeah, okay, well we went down and get loans and then they wouldn't give us the bond or grant money because the rate's too low. So therefore we'd had to actually go out and borrow from banks and stuff, and the interest rates had been higher. So we do more projects and the interest rates are lower, and you talk between 3 and 5%. So 2 and 4%, whatever it is. We can almost do the projects cheaper than all of them than it would be for just do the ones we'd have to go from the bank for. Okay, so that's why we added the 16th Street in. 16th Street is a known issue through my GIS or software. There's two areas that we had a lot of history of breaks. One was 45th Place, which we replaced a couple years ago, and the other one is 16th Street. Okay, so when I upgrade that line 16th Street, it eliminates any future breaks, but it also allows the line extension we did from well 7-8. We ran down River Road, across 20th, and down 16th. Now we can tie into the 16th, run it over, and tie back in the well fields 9 and 10, which is 9th Street. So that allows me to push water better from 7, 8, 11 through 14 down to fill the tanks up if I have to down at the seminary or Masonic home tanks. Okay? So it kind of ties the whole system in together. If I take 7, 8 out on well 7, 8 out, I can feed the middle part of town off of 9 and 10. And if I lose 9 and 10, I can steer, which we're doing now, push some water down from 7 and 8.
So it makes the system more redundant.
Yeah, yes, yeah. Better fire flow. It's got better volume. So. And 16th Streets, we've had 20 some breaks there in the last 5 years. So
Average
Median household
median
income.
household. Yes. So what that means is Indian on average 6%
Would do annual.
annual for water and sewer. And because the rates are so low, we're 0.26%. We don't qualify for more interest rates in the state. So we have one and two options. First option is to increase your water rates. So the annual median income, the rate is 0.4% of that, or increase the dollar amount of the projects that you have so as to increase your overall obligation, raising the cost. Is that correct? Am I explaining that correctly?
Well, I mean, the option between doing more projects because you're going to need to justify. It can't be a money maker.
Right. So you have to do more projects.
Either do more projects or you're going to take each project and do them one by
Individually.
one. Which
And if you do them individually, you're going to have to borrow money from the bank, which is going to have probably double the interest rate. So if you do all of the projects at once, you qualify for the grant money or the loan money at a lower interest rate. So in the end, if you do it more projects, you get a better deal on the money than if you do fewer projects individually.
correct.
just one. So you get punished for having low rates. Yeah, so which we've dealt with for years.
Looking at
Uh-huh. Head, Mike.
looking at the water system, the phase one project, it started out actually as trying to get the small diameter water main replacements. Those are less than 2-inch galvanized line or up to 2-inch galvanized.
Put some inch and quarter galvanized pipes.
Yeah, my old house was between 19 and 20 there, so I was well aware of the breaks that occurred. So it was get rid of those. And again, you see those are spread just throughout the system.
Which in turn, lead and copper rule, we're going to have to get rid of a lot of the galvanized pipes anyway. So we're just moving ahead with that project. That's a big issue with lead and copper rule is the galvanized lines.
Another part of the project would be water main reinforcements. What those are kind of dead end lines that don't circulate through. So putting in 5 different ones suggested it would help with fire flows in those areas and help actually provide better water to the residents. So those were pretty small, easy, relatively easy projects that we get a lot of. Thank you. This is the 16th Street project that Greg had started talking about, basically going from Grand Central east up to 13th Avenue, then all the way over then to the connection with the tank, or at least the
Yeah,
12
feeder
inch.
tank. Yeah, feeder for the tank.
Again, looking at the water system improvements to phase one, again, we're not to a point yet to begin design because we just haven't worked out that scope totally yet. But hopefully, we can start still, mid this year and be able to get project completed by the end of 2027. And talking about some of this is a little bit of duplication on for the WVU-P side. Do the line on 13th Avenue. We're wanting to get a good water supply up to that area. It's not just, I think, to serve potential development there. I know that Windermere also has some pressure issues, so it would help them as well. But what we were looking at currently, the OVU tank is fed from the 20th Street booster station. We would actually, and it's an issue.
Yeah, it's got to be rebuilt, replaced.
So instead of placing it there, we were looking at putting it somewhere there in front of Windermere and pumping up to a new tank. Right now, the 200,000 gallon tank that's there is too small for a future development that would go that way. It's fine for serving the existing and also the elementary schools up there, but you start talking about major housing and commercial, it's going to have to be upsized. The other issue is with the elementary school, they're asking for a certain pressure. The tank is just not tall enough. It was not, when it was designed, had no thoughts of the requirements for the booster station there, so we may have to actually raise that up slightly. It's its own, that whole district there is its own pressure system, meaning water pressure there is different from being down in the low area here. So that water system is fully controlled off of that booster.
Yeah, and that zone feeds Forest Hills, Woodland, them areas also. So along with the college and the future elementary school.
So these are your two slides. So what these be done at the same time?
Yes. And they would, especially if you look, we were planning the sewer and water running off a future road, however they came to one on each side, just to get separation, and then the thought being, if that would develop as roads or whatever are going off, your main trunks would be up that line, whether water or sewer. That's the tie-in point into the Vienna system. Switching over to the dredging of Pond Run, it's not just Pond Run that we're looking at, it's also dry dams. We'll talk about that in just a second here. But the Pond Run, that was going to go from 28th Street all the way down, I guess just south of the mall, where it ties in there, where the electric substation is. It's right beside of there. Pond Run keeps on going, of course, to the river, but we would not go that full distance. Really, we just pick up basically from that connection point up. And then there are three dry ponds that have been in place for 20 plus.
Oh yeah.
So, and again, they're also in need of cleaning. So we just put both of the projects together. We did survey kind of to come up with the amounts. Of course, this was done in 2020 also. So we came up with an amount of solids that need to be removed. We're able to put together a cost estimate for it.
Keep in mind the dry structures you see at Greenmont, they are flood control structures. That's what they're installed for. What they do is they fill up and then allow water to dissipate at a certain rate, keeping flooding the stream that goes along 51st Street. So the silt that's in them ponds now is approximately, it could range up to 6-7 foot deep. Flood it should be. Okay, so we're losing the capacity in the flood control structure.
And it's supposed to. I mean, that's why you put them there is have someplace you can clean that out instead of going down the stream. Again, we don't have the funding in place for that project. A little less than 1.5 million. We've been trying several years to get that project funded. We have not had success Yes. The biggest issue with the project will be easements, and will be impacting folks along Pond Run as we remove those solids, trucking. The other concern is how the streets are going to be. It's mud coming out of there, so there'll be an emphasis on keeping those streets clean as they go. Questions on?
This is talked about
Yeah, Mansion had promised this, right, Randy? The 1 million for this project. So now where that sits now. Actually, that is code. That's public service code. Yes. So, at the max. Okay. So it might be, somebody might be close. Max is code. Can't be more than 1,000 foot. That's the Red Bibles I used last week. So you got yours, didn't you? Okay. You're making that up.
It sounded really.
It did, but almost I thought, nah, that's not it.
Several years ago, we started looking at coming up with a plan to address storm drainage across the city. The first one being 8th Street, which really that's the problem area is there, but the system goes from the top of the hill there at 19th,
Yeah.
19th Avenue and 28th, and drains down to. It actually discharges there in front of Jackson Middle School along 34th Street. So it's that whole system that drains in there. There's not a true drainage system. It's kind of cobbled together. There's parts that more than ditches as it go through there. There's some storm, but there has been major issues up in that to the bottom right there along 19th Avenue and 9th Street. So we looked at replacing that actually as a 3-phase project, with the first phase, which is designed going from discharge into Pond Run all the way up to the intersection of 15th Avenue and 30th.
Yes.
So that's designed. We actually had done a funding application for it. The hope would be that we could get at least a $500,000 from the West Virginia's Clean Water State Revolving Fund. There's a grant program that counts the cost of green infrastructure. So as part of this project, what we did, instead of just doing a normal sewer that would go through, is we looked at doing more of an infiltration system. So we would put in infiltration basins. We would put in lines would be have holes drilled in them, so to let the water infiltrate out and into the ground. So the hope would be we would get up to $500,000 in grant. Unfortunately, this year, with all the money that they had to spend with the ARPA funds, I don't think there's going to be money this year available for this project. So we're going to have to decide whether we want to hold on another year or possibly do the current phase and then maybe applying for the second phase next year. Just as we go through, we'll have to decide how that goes. But from the picture up there, the green line that you see, that's what we have designed. It's ready to go. The second phase really takes care of major issues. The blue that you see along there, those are infiltration basins, which see what we were looking at is kind of similar to the picture that's there to the side. So we let water drain through there, which reduces the overall water that gets the pond run. It allows us to downsize the pipes. And then the third phase would just be all those lines as it goes, just better direct water to the new lines.
This is a 2-year project. Can you split that out? Budget years, and this is general fund, this is not, right. I mean, talk to water sewer.
Right.
You split that thing in 2 years. So it's $1.1 million, so it's not a large commitment. Is there any reason why we shouldn't look at that? So, if we went ahead and did this phase in 2 years, okay, going back down to Charlotte and saying, hey, we completed phase 1 now.
Yeah.
Now we need your help to continue this project and get it done. There's money there to start. It's just a matter of getting a little help, maybe get your guy. Hey, here's where we're at. If we phase that in over 2 years, $500,000 a year is not a big deal. Even less than a long time now. Whatever you do is going to make it.
Right. It's a start. Yeah.
Yeah. If we get phase 1 done, show them that look, we've got some skin in the game now. And maybe we can do that. Yeah.
Yeah. That would basically confirm our commitment to the project.
Right. Which usually will help you if you know your investment.
If they don't if you completed part of the project, you alleviate
Yes. Yeah, it's funny, when I started here 28 years ago, 27 years ago, wherever from, the previous administration, public works director, he had worked on this project for 5 years. So, the example is, so this project's 32 years old in the making. A lot of that piping that you see is cobbled together. And like I said, there's upstream, there's a 24-inch pipe dumping into a 12-inch pipe, going to a 16-inch pipe, going to an 8-inch pipe. I mean, it didn't make any sense. So they started at the wrong end with the wrong, down at the end where it should be the big pipe and work way backwards. But they started up here. It's a mess.
Again, that's over the 3-year project, or 3-year project, hoping to be finalized at the end of 2027. And then there's just miscellaneous contract or projects that are out there. I don't know if you want to say anything about those.
The bridge replacements, as was, doesn't really have to do utility wise, but it does, because especially 12th Street, they are going to replace the bridge, 12th Street, and First Niple designed that, right? So, what do you understand now? Because I've heard two different things.
So I've not heard change as far as I know.
Okay, well, hopefully,
no change in size, no change in capacity.
yeah, height or width or
You would
flood
think,
control
especially
structure.
with that, if there's development up there, you would surely think that would be well worth the.
So, you've seen the drawings. You've seen where the water and sewer lines run through there. So we have to work around that bridge structure. So that's what The other bridges are being replaced also. Or actually, 27th Street is. I know they finished drawings up on it. You didn't, but their engineering firm did. So paving, that was, additional money than 800K. It'd be great. Last year, I think I'm at 1.1 million. Last year, 1.2.
Allocate another.
That was part of the 1.1, 1.2, but it's whatever. I think it wasn't 500,000, but whatever it was 300,000, wasn't it? Yeah. So it didn't go very far. So,
You must ask.
yeah, steered it. It didn't go very far. So, we're going to work 800,000 again this year. 850, I think. It was in budget 850 this year.
We increased. We will not increase.
Okay, $100,000. So we'll continue on with paving. We'll again reference to paving. You're working on water sewer lines here. You don't want to pave the street and dig it all back up. So it's kind of bounced around. A lot of people don't understand that. When I tell them, I say, well, I don't want to pave your street this year. Let me digging it up or dig it up next year. Bear with us. So we try to get this information out to show where our projects is in the water and sewer. So MS4 for me, it's an annual report. We work on that every year. So that's your stormwater permit. So storm pump station rehab. That's give an example at 41st Street and Vienna School. That box alongside the road, that is a stormwater pump. So when that area floods or gets a lot of water, that pump kicks on, discharges it out back there, back to Pond Run at the end of Mr. Bennett's property. So hopefully, if we get to school in a trade, we'll try to eliminate that lift station, put a retention system in there, or at least make it where we don't need a lift station. There's still existing storm drain pipe that runs down 41st Street to River Road, so it crosses Grand Central, and but that's some of the projects we need to work on in the future.
Yeah, after that short presentation, I think I'm done for a little bit.
Yeah, we'll
So
get
until the next one.
You guys got any questions on that? Because that's our what we're doing next 5 years, and what we've been working on the last 3 years. So.
Those phase, when we see the phase, in any of that, is there listed, this is based on the level of what's critical and what would be nice? Have we identified this is a critical infrastructure upgrade that has to be done in priority to this is what we'd like to see done? Is that listed somewhere?
That's your 5-year plan.
But does it?
Yeah, that first one's
specific?
So that's like how this year. That's how I did. The 5 years out, it could change, or we could add or subtract them. But the
So
first
just the way that you put them in phases.
5 years, that's our priority.
Okay.
Any questions? A lot. So okay, we'll move on to the agenda.
Hold one. Mr. Smith in the back.
Thanks. Just following up on Russ's comment earlier, when we were talking about the water represents 0.26% of the income, and we need to, in order to get the low interest loans, we need to get 4% or 0.4%. Does anybody know what that percent increase would be? That 0.4% what we charge our citizens or whoever you are.
That is handled by Michael Griffith, or he does our rate study. So once we decide what project we're going to do and next money for it, and we'll take it to Michael Griffith. He sets the rate structure.
So we don't know if we want to do what we talked about.
You want a ballpark number for that?
Yeah. Yeah, something like that.
We do. I can give you what the rate might increase in reference to the school project. So can I get you in the ballpark if we do it or not? So the money's gonna be about the same if we do our stuff or they do their stuff.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
That analysis is going to be done as a part of the whole. We
Yes.
are going to get those proposed rate
Yes.
changes relative to this 5-year plan, so.
You know, the procedure you have to do.
Yeah.
ready, prepaid. And part of the procedure is the rate study that has to be done by an accountant like Michael Griffith. Michael Griffith is the one that we've used because he's the expert.
He's the one we used in like 2017.
He's the one I've ever used. So I think he's the one in the state anymore. So
I got an
yeah, you're president. So we're taking a little break. Are we doing? So
Yeah.
Take a 2-minute break. Too much coffee this morning.
Now he's having issues too. So
Hey, Rodney. Yes, sir. You know, the whole deal with that.
ready? Okay. Your meetings. Yes. Waiting for you.
Got our agenda out. Next item on the agenda is
Scada's upgrade.
we've
Or
been all through.
Scada.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you mentioned that in the overall, but now you're going to talk about SCADA upgrade specifically.
Yeah, just again, we'll go through the line items, but it's Scada. Must be a fire. So we'll use all that water we produce. So
That's really just his excuse to
yeah, yeah. The SCADA system, they're supposed to come in today or tomorrow. If they don't, I guess our choice here is we need to make a decision. If they don't come in tomorrow, do we cancel the contract?
What I'm going to do is,
So-
if they're not in here tomorrow, if Craig tells me they're not here,
Actually today,
Craig, or today,
Yeah.
Craig tells me to write. I'll write that initial nasty letter that says, you know, you need to do the work or X, and then I suppose if we want to make any official, give me authority to do any official action, we'll put it on our next agenda and make that determination. I would ask. I need authority to do anything, so. My suggestion is let me write a letter, and then if we don't have a response by the next meeting or the meeting after, up to you guys, then we'll take whatever steps necessary to terminate the contract.
If we terminate the contract, where are we going to go to?
That's the issue. That's an issue.
there's another company in West Virginia right now that's working, so we'd have to talk to them.
You have talked.
I haven't talked to them, no, but we'd have to talk to them. So there's other agencies out there. I know that the company that is in West Virginia actually wants taking all the employees from the guy that's supposed to be doing work. So. We'll let you know at the end of the day if they show up or not. If they don't, then we'll go ahead and proceed. If you all wish to go ahead and write the letter. And
based on what you just said about this company losing capacity, employees and whatever, I mean, what kind of reasonable assurance are you looking for that they're going to be able to perform? And do you think, based on what you know about them currently, that they still have the capacity on the contract? If you know.
Somebody's been in depositions for a week.
yeah.
If you know.
Yeah.
He's using the lingo.
It's been a year and a half since we awarded the contract. So I think your question was answered. They have not fulfilled what they promised to do. I don't know. If you ask me confidence in their level of work from here on out, after they install the system, it's very low. Tommy and I've talked, and they have given us no assurance whatsoever to be able to support this product. But we're bound by a contract this time because it was the lowest bid and we awarded it. But
so your intention is to
write them a letter that says get to work.
Yeah.
If you haven't gotten to work by X date, then we'll pursue where we're at.
Where are they based out of?
Charleston area, down below Charleston, Huntington.
Does this warrant like a visit to them?
Warrant a visit?
Yeah, like, should we, if we don't get a response back?
Me to talk to them in person.
Yeah.
It's up to you guys.
We've talked to them. I don't know if personal showing up is going to benefit any. I deal with C.R. Thornburg on a basis. That's who we get our chemicals from. We get most of our pipe supplies to them. They're cheapest. I had no issue with the company. It's a good company. It just can't fulfill this contract. Okay, I think it says public, but they started out good with the Scada system.
Maybe we'll just save off on saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just can't fulfill what they need to do. So
They have thus far not fulfilled their obligation
Right.
to the city of Vienna.
So you might include also a paragraph about reasonable assurance moving forward, not just get to work,
yeah,
but demonstrate to us that you have the capacity, you continue to have the capacity. to fill
To
this
support
contract.
the system.
We contracted you. We're going to hold you accountable for what you said you were going to do.
Yeah.
You need to do it, and you need to perform
And we need
to standard in the future. That seems fairly reasonable.
yes.
How many bidders actually bid on this project?
One.
And at some point, depending on how this shakes out, you have the council and the utility board will have the option of precluding this particular company from performing work for the city even if they bid on it, and even if they are the lowest bidder, because if and there's a lot of ifs, but you have the ability to preclude them from, or we don't have to accept their work at some point in the future, but we haven't gotten to that point yet.
But if you did terminate it, you'd have to rebid it.
Well, I mean, yes, unless there's some type of showing that there's an emergency now. Yes, we would have to read.
How much money have we paid them, Craig?
Too much. Over half the contract.
So we're not paying them anymore.
Are your prices fixed in this contract in some way that
It is.
if you rebid it, you're likely going to experience a price increase?
I don't know. I have not shopped around for who else offers and what their price would be. I'm kind of stuck by the contract. I don't know what my legalities would be. So,
Well, there may be a way to recoup some of that, but let's just wait.
All right, does that conclude the conversation on the SCADA upgrade?
go ahead. See.
So, yep, wells 9 and 10 rehab.
Just I put in your drop boxes, or Natalie put your drop boxes. Well 9 is complete, back online. We did increase water flow approximately 100 gallons per minute, which is good. But I put some pictures in there, y'all. These are the screens that are in the well. Okay, it's in your drop box.
Oh, yeah.
This is what it looks like before. You see these are stainless steel screens, and you see all the corrosion and silt on those screens. And this is what it looks like after. Okay. So when we say we clean wells, which we are doing on 7, 8 now, well number 7, they come and acid wash this, and then purge it. What it is like a big plunger, goes up and down, pushes the water in and out, they do it for hours, and then they start sucking everything out and blowing it out, and it moves the sand back out of the screens, and also it cleans the screens. Like I clean the radiator, what it looks like. So
How often do you do that?
actually, well rehab should be done every 7 years. So we push them about 10 years. Okay.
So it doesn't affect the well rehab being moved from 7 to 10 years doesn't affect the quality of the water. It just
No,
affects
absolutely
the
not.
efficiency.
Water gets tested every day. The quality's there. Just your production rate will slow down. So that screen, is bad, but it's still produced water. I mean, through them screens, you're getting 600 gallons per minute. So, okay.
Good deal.
Like I said before, the roof was being replaced. Everything inside has been taken out and repainted in well number 9. So, good.
Water storage tank condition assessment update.
Again, it's in I picked the report from Burgess, Niple, from the inspection of the OVU tank. It showed some algae on the growth, which this summer we're going to have to hire somebody to come in and clean the tanks up on the outside because it has green algae. And the interior pieces we are handling in house. I've already had the guys fix the floor, put non-string grout in, fix some issues that we can do in house. But the only thing we can't really do outside is pressure wash the tank outside the tanks. And it's just not this one. It's going to more or less going to be every tank that we have. You notice the backside, the algae grows, just the mold on the outside. Nothing to do with the inside, but it's on the outside. So, and Mike wants to do the 10th of March, and we are going to do the 12th of lowering the tanks and draining Millstone. That'll be the next tank inspection. Then we'll go from there to Jackson Tank, and then from Jackson Tank to the Masonic Home tanks. You really won't see anything difference in the water because what we'll do, like the Millstone tank, we'll drain it halfway and then we'll isolate it out. The people in the upper part of town and Rosemar start feeding off the Jackson tank, and we'll empty the Millstone tank, and they'll get into their inspections. Once that's completed, we'll start filling the tank back up, testing it out, and then put it back online. Then we'll start draining the Jackson tank down as much as we can to use the water till it starts affecting pressures throughout the system. Then I'll have to isolate that out and start feeding water out of the Millstone tank back to the center part of town. So we'll drain that out and do the same process. Each one will be the same, but they'll all be different times. We won't be losing all of our tanks. So, all right.
Will this be the first inspection that's been done in Jackson and Masonic?
Yeah, 10 years.
I remember.
Yeah, went by fast, didn't it?
Oh, man.
It seemed like yesterday we just built them tanks, but tires for the police department and everything else. So, all right.
How far are they gonna water blast the OVU tank? Legally, 100%? Or just where? Just the spots that have
The top has some deterioration of paint. It needs all cleaned. So
it will be the top?
On the outside, okay, not inside, outside. What? Yeah.
Did you make any provisions or ask them to water blast the OVU off the outside of that tank?
That was going to be my next thing. I wondered too with discussion with VIII.
I don't think we blasted off there, but we could probably repaint that. I don't know if that paint would blast off.
There has been some, Chad, that may be something you want to follow up with Corey Jackson. Okay, this is an opportunity right here to have that done.
Yeah, agree.
Take the
You're referring to the logo on the outside.
right there.
Yeah.
Take that off and you put the WVU-P logo on it. I would assume we would ask them to absorb the cost for that, but, you know, this would be the opportunity to have it done.
That's a good suggestion. Thanks.
If they start to talk to us after tomorrow, right?
Huh?
If they start to talk to us after tomorrow,
um,
which
yeah.
is the next line item. So,
What is it?
the water and wastewater study for WP sites. So,
And that's,
I,
these documents, right?
yes, yeah, the two reports. They're in your
Everybody should have a
Dropboxes.
copy from-
The one report is in your Dropbox. This report was not. I got it late from Mike. It's not. I just asked him to do it, so it wasn't his fault. I just didn't get a chance to put it in your Dropbox. But there's two options here in reference to they did request service to the new school and the new college or the college. They kind of talked about the road. So, like I said, again, I asked Mike to go worst case scenario, and this is a report right here in the cost. Reference to water and sewer. I mean, you're looking at a $7.88 million project for the water extension, and that does include a new elevated tank of 500,000 gallon capacity. Right now we have 200,000 gallon capacity, and I think what was it, 14 or 24 feet higher? What was the height? Do you remember?
Off the top of my head.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's higher than the existing tank, so which will increase pressures in that area. Forest Hills, Woodland, and we go back through and catch mills or Windermere out and eliminate a couple booster stations. So
I do want to say that I talked to Lindsay Pearsall a little bit prior to this. We didn't go over any specific numbers because you haven't released.
Right.
You didn't release anything officially. She is going to, as part of her contract with us that they provide under the economic development, and with also working with the school, she's actively going to pursue funding sources that she has some confidence in. She knew kind of a ballpark, but not specific numbers. So I've now sent her what you put out, and she's going to actively start to pursue to see if there's funding streams and sources available on that.
well, that's good. Water, like I said, it's 7.88 million. In sewer, you can see it. It's $2.48 million projects. The reason I gave you all the books last week, you can kind of look at the mainline extension agreements and rules and regulations, what we're required for and what we're not. When you talk about Lindsay Pearsall doing that, which I appreciate, but she would be doing it for them, not for us. Okay, it's for their cost. Yeah, we would not be responsible for a certain amount.
I can see looking at that two ways.
Okay.
So us investing in potential homesite development and so on being a benefit to the city. But here's my question. Now, with the analysis that was done that the school can be serviced with the existing sewer, with the booster station for the water, okay? But that's only going to serve the school. And is there, I guess my question is, versus the 7.88 that does it all for the water, right? So if you do the booster station and to get them going, because we don't have the funding available and the city's not in a position to fund this for this project. Do we continue to benefit from the booster station? In other words, does that become obsolete or not having needed to be done if we do the 7.88, or would it be incorporated? You get what I'm trying to say? Is it, would we be wasting money in this little Band-Aid?
You were referring to booster station. That would be in their complex. Okay, that's just for their fire protection.
Okay. Within their complex. Okay.
Within their complex.
So the point is, I read this when we came in. Was there a price in here for that booster station?
Well, there isn't one booster station if we're going to do the whole project.
No, just
for
to
the
get
school,
it to the point where you can get the fire protection in place.
That's their booster station. They'd have to install it in their school.
So there would be no cost to the city involved. No. That's just a way that we say we can give enough water if you put this booster in.
Yes.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah. And the schools can be serviced.
Pardon?
The schools can be fully serviced in.
Yes, if they do this, yes. They can steer. There's a sewer line there they can tie into it. They can handle their capacity, and there's water that's there. The tank water has enough to fire to service their school plus, 2-hour fire rating. Okay, right? So, all right. Now, if they want to do anything else, you have to go back to the other project.
Right, but we could approach a conversation as a phased conversation rather than it's 100% or nothing.
Yeah,
it could be phased.
Your school can be built. We could provide water and sewer to it. If you want to do any additional or upgrade, this is what it's going to cost.
Yeah.
It's what this does. It fulfills our obligation. Okay. They ask for service. We give them the study for service. It's their choice what they want to make.
Gotcha.
Okay. There's guidelines out there that it's extended 7.4 and 7.5 rules in water and sewer outlines that mainline extension and obligations that the city would be responsible for, 30%, and what they would be responsible for.
On page 37.
Yeah.
Wasn't it section 8A?
Yeah.
I think it was
7.4, 7.5. I can tell you. It used to be 5.5. That's why I always quoted. And now it's 7.4, 7.5. So.
And did you, on these proposed budgets under 7.4, page 37, what the city's obligation would actually be in a number standpoint?
We did.
Is that something that you're ready to mention, or?
You got the report on that? Because I don't have it with me. I have it. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
it's roughly, if you're asking me what percent, if I had to raise rates to cover this expense, it's a little over $10 per customer per month.
if we took
the whole hit.
I don't think that's on the table. That wasn't my question. My question is
what our percentage is.
Yeah. What if they request the extensions? Okay. For PSC, our obligation on this budget would obligate the city to what dollar amount to meet our requirement under the PSC? Is that
very little because they've only showed me one building.
Right.
So there's only one customer. I'm supposed to pay 5-year income off that one customer. That's our responsibility. So if you got $20 a month off that customer times this by 60, that's all we're supposed to be required to pay.
Okay.
Okay. So it's just very little.
All right. Anything else on the?
Hey, Mike? Yeah, sure.
Anything else on the WVU site?
No, I just wanted to give you guys reports. I know we have a meeting with them tomorrow to discuss some things with them. So this will be presented to them. Just wanted to present with you all first. So when they call you, you'll know what's going on. Okay.
Have they discussed a timeline with you yet? I mean, are we gonna drop this on us at the last minute and expect you to fill in high gear, or are we gonna?
I think they already did that. So, yeah, we had a meeting with them back in December, January, but that's when they kicked everything in high gear at that time. They're projected. I thought the date was 2006 or 2026 when they wanted to have school open. I guess it was actually when they started the construction, 2026. Correct. And, so then school opening in 2027, along with the other schools like Blueback and them, which I find difficult to do.
They have a very
ambitious,
aggressive timeline.
This
thing would be dropped from the sky and put into place is kind of the timeline they're talking about.
Yeah. It appears that the footprints of both buildings are the same, so maybe get 1, 2 out, the price of 1. I'm not sure. That's what they need to do. Okay.
So is that everything?
Yes, sir.
So Amy, and we're talking about, there's a question about prioritizing, in the comments about 28th Street, for example, and discussion about maybe considering putting some skin in the game in phase 1 in order to better position us to get funding for phase 2. Is this something we looked at in the budget, or are we considering this now?
We have not included any of that in this year's budget.
So I think that's a fair discussion now, is to, because, and that's all stormwater, right? That's general fund questions.
Right.
General.
So that's really the only one we touch. Because the rates have to pay for the other.
Right. So I'm just, wondering if we want to, because I didn't think it was in the budget.
It is not.
And
We
we're
do
talking
allocate
about this
$100,000
plan.
a year to storm.
I'm sorry,
We do allocate $100,000 a year to storm.
is that spent?
No, I mean, it hasn't been.
I mean,
for the.
Could you
20
put that 100 toward
The
the
24-25 year, it has not been moved to stormwater yet.
Yes, you could move that project if you want.
So you've got a carryover.
We haven't spent any money out of that this year.
So
what
just
you're
while
saying?
everybody's in the room, the question is this
Salaries
something
are-
that you think we need to
Can we find out what that number would be?
advance or in this budget year? Because if so, we need to consider that now.
It'd be, I don't think we could get this done in this year. Budget would be more likely fit in the budget from July to June of next year.
Correct,
Next year.
Okay, all right.
That's the budget we're getting ready to.
That's what I'm
approve.
talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, oh, I'm sorry, okay,
That's
yes,
what I mean. What we're working on
Yes.
right now.
yes.
Do we want to consider, because I've been listening to, you guys talk about this 28th Street, this is a lot of flooding in the city, right? That you're a lot of, anyway, so I'm just asking your opinion, everybody's.
Amy's gonna find out what the,
We have $100,000 to transfer on top of what that balance is right now. Plus, we have $152,100 for ARPA funds that have not. So
They've
that's
already
a-
been allocated to
They've
stormwater?
already been allocated to stormwater.
Okay.
So that's $252,000 that still has to drop in stormwater on top of the balance that they already have.
Going froggy?
You give me money, I'll do anything you want, okay?
I
So
just-
that's the way it works.
Well, like I said, I'm certainly not the most experienced in the room to suggest.
It would be nice, but yeah,
There's
this,
another $100,000 allocated to 25.
That you've already got. Would that take you to 350?
it puts us at like 350 plus the balance of what's.
Plus the balance.
So we could be looking at like 4 something.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. And just keep in mind, if we approve this, everything's great, this tier project still wouldn't get done until June of 2026, okay?
Right, but we
Because
can,
we gotta get outside that school zone.
Well, you know what
area.
Mary Poppins said?
Huh?
You know what Mary Poppins said?
What?
Well, the gun's half done.
Okay.
Okay, so I think we need to consider that.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
So
Like I said,
she'll,
I'm just-
she'll get those numbers for us today and I'll have them sent out. Well, can you send them out to?
Yeah.
To Craig and Craig can send them out to everybody?
do you agree
have
that in
them.
terms of your 5-year plan priority list and what you see, available, whatever, that we should go ahead and try to
Yeah,
make this work, especially since we've already got a significant portion of funding kind of in reserve, so to speak.
I would, this project does need completed and, understand that, but also, you're looking at $500,000 or $1 million for this project, coming up with it. You gotta keep in mind, this all drains to Pond Run and Pond Run is a priority project, okay? That is your flood control structure and it's gonna handle this flow. If we don't get the grant money for Pond Run, I would encourage you board to look about funding the Pond Run project instead of this project.
So,
That's where we're talking about
Yeah.
what is critical. So
Yeah,
if we-
well, it's all in reference to the grant money. If Mansion gives the grant money or whoever it is,
It was in our.
Baby Dog gives us the grant money, we'll do that project.
We should probably follow up with Capito too. She's,
yeah, so, but if you're saying it's like not till 20, even if we put the money in, that the project's gonna be down the road, I would think, and we can always unring that bell. So I would think we allocate the money for this, because we're not gonna get, because we need it to get the second half of the state. And then in the meantime, pursue the money that Manchin promised for Pond Run and try to get that cart and horse in the right order, right? Okay.
It's fine.
that's good thinking.
I mean, Craig's right. On run is something that long-term has to be done. But I also know that over the last 5 or 6 years, that flooding on 28th Street, I mean, it is like a river coming right down the middle of the concrete street
Right.
when it rains. We haven't had a rain like that for a while, but I'm telling you, especially up, the upper end, 19th Avenue and what have you. I mean, where Joyce Perky lives,
Yeah.
man, that is a mess. But it hasn't happened for the last couple of years, so it's kind of like, okay, you know, but it's still, I mean, I mean, Pond Run, I got it. That's one of those long-term things that we have to get done. But if I were gonna prioritize this, I would do the 28th Street upgrade as soon as we can fund it. And it sounds like, you know, I don't know the numbers that Chad's got, but it sounds like there's 50 or 60% of that money already there. And then, you know, you allocate $400,000 out of capital reserve, or you put it in next year's budget. You can fund that one right now. You can do that one.
So I wonder, and I wonder too, if, you know, part and parcel of what Lindsay's doing, if we've got her contract in the budget again, right?
Yes,
Right now to consider.
correct.
I mean, so, you know, pushing levers for both of these, the money for the 28th Street, even if it's on the back half, and then also this commitment we had for Pond Run. And then, but wasn't there other money, aside from what you're talking about with Mansion, there was some kind of a DNR, DEP accumulated fund? Is that
Oh,
what
no,
we're talking
you're
about
talking
here?
about soil conservation.
Yeah,
Department. No, they eliminated all that. They spent all the money on other structures throughout the state and depleted their account and closed it up. So
So the money you had in your kitty,
it wasn't our kitty, it was a kitty.
a kid.
It was a general fund kitty that everybody took money out of except us. So
okay, so that,
very disappointing.
yeah. Maybe all the more reason to use that lever against the state a little bit. To
Yes.
say, you know, we had something you took away from it, and,
Yeah.
but our need didn't go away.
They had to address some dam issues in different counties. That
I
was
hate those damn issues.
Yeah, so- all right. Excellent.
Okay, set dates and times for future meetings. So, you know, Friday at 1 versus Wednesdays at 9, I'm in favor of this.
9 is a little difficult for me.
Okay,
If it could be a little later, I discussed that with Chad. I thought it was gonna be at 1.
all
It
right,
has
yeah,
to
I
do
do
with
understand that.
childcare. So, I mean, it would be, I don't care what day of the week, it makes no difference to me.
How late do you want to make it, Michael?
10 would even be better. That's what, so my issue, not to put my personal business out there, but the way we stagger our schedule at home, the babysitter comes at 10. And she has another job some mornings before us. So I've been very fortunate in both meetings so far. She was able to come at 9. But there is the potential, and I don't want to miss meetings, there is a potential she couldn't come for a set time at 10. So
You can come in a little late.
that'd be a lot.
Oh, not at, if we move, are you good with 10?
I
Yeah,
mean,
no, 10 would work. 10
Uh-huh.
would work.
Yeah, well, so for me, my office is clear on the other side of town, right? And so typically, and I'm in Vienna. And so, although that's been a subject of dispute.
He didn't just say that out loud.
Oh, that's
Listen,
fine.
you
Hey,
didn't
all
just say
comers,
that.
man, I don't care. I kind of find it humorous. But anyway, so, you know, getting it so I could either I'm coming home or I'm going to work, okay? And so 10 works for me, and I would prefer that to an afternoon time, because once I get over there, I don't know when I can get out. And so,
That would work
yeah,
for me
yeah,
too.
okay. All right, so Wednesdays at 10, other thoughts?
Just understand that when these fall on a trial week, I may not be here. And my trials typically start on Tuesdays. So,
I'm subject to the same constraint.
yeah, I should be good, you know.
Yeah.
Wednesday should be fine otherwise, but on those events when they coincide, I'm gonna have to give that priority. Yep. But also, I'm probably the least important person here, so.
What week of the month?
Steer make the third week. of the
Same.
month.
That's fine.
Or first week. I don't. We don't mind.
Is that a problem for you?
Breakfast coordinated the third week.
We can do it first, second.
I
and
don't
then-
care what week.
Yeah.
I actually don't care what day.
Well, yeah.
If it wasn't the third Wednesday, I can do it.
So either different day of the week or a different week of the month. I don't care.
Let's do a different week of the month.
Yeah,
Because
that's fine.
Wednesdays seem to be good. Set the second week of the month.
second Wednesday of the month.
Yeah, that's.
Or is it better to do
Is
it
there
at
any
the end of the
benefit
month?
to do this relative to a council meeting? For the council meetings?
They're independent of each
Is
other.
there any?
Yeah,
Is
that,
there any?
Probably not, because you gotta get on the agenda, so.
Yeah, okay.
what,
Second Wednesday at 10?
sure.
That works good.
Okay,
Anybody got any further objection to that?
vote.
All right, second one, we gotta vote on it?
Mhm.
Vote on
Okay.
it. I'll call for the question. All those in favor of moving the meeting to second Wednesdays of the month, 10 a.m., please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed? Carries unanimously.
I'm more disappointed that I haven't been invited to Joe's breakfast.
They're looking for
We
somebody
can
to
go
back
now,
it.
though, so
It-
where's it, where's
It's
that at?
it's a McDonald's. It's
Oh, I heard about McDonald's Club. I don't know.
Oh my
about
gosh.
that one, so,
Yeah, I'm afraid to go in there.
yeah.
we look we hit Elkies, don't we? That's
Manager report or.
Okay, manager's report.
Next meeting, the second Wednesday of the month, you all need to, I'll put on the agenda for election of officials. I know you'll be a president because you're appointed, but you still need a vice president. Okay, so, you all, I'll put that on agenda, you all can vote. So, y'all any questions on that or? I don't care who it is. I hope so. I know it's not gonna be me, so that's good.
We're
So
just all
just-
looking right.
I just like I said, I'll put that on agenda. We'll go back to the standard agenda. This has been a long meeting. I appreciate everybody here, even the department heads. Even one tried to run because of some reason, but yeah.
I saw the fire alert. Before we go, I just want to commend Craig. He's been working preemptively to do a lot of this stuff with the school and other projects, which has made it beneficial to me and I think the city as a whole. So I just want to thank you, Craig, for what you've done on that.
Yeah, welcome.
Assume that starts our utility board comments. So, other comments? All right, next regular meeting will be what day and time? March
Yeah,
12th.
so I
at
don't
10
know. It
a.m.
didn't look. So I got a calendar, I can't see it. So,
Don't say it. Don't do it like that.
Look at
March 12th.
yeah.
look,
March 12th,
Michael's already making himself useful.
Yeah.
Like, because I was afraid if I didn't screw it up.
Yeah.
You just earned your
Why can't you?
your candy bar.
Hey, Tammy, don't run if you got a minute.
I've got a couple minutes. I have to do something.
Okay,
Are we adjourned?
we are adjourned.